All right, in this video, we're going to create a simple callback queue, and the callback option, I should say, will need to have access to the VCC configuration manager, and you'll need to have full administrative access. If you don't have full administrative access, there may be some functions in here you can't perform. So I will try to move as quickly as I can, but I'm not going to lie, this is a tedious process. It usually takes about a half an hour, so you may find it easier for you to follow along to some extent. And then once you begin to get the idea, you could kind of fast forward or, move the timeline bar up and then maybe, come back if there's something you didn't get. So we need to have a queue first. So in the section here for queues and skills, I need to add an outbound phone queue. So click on that. I'm going to give it a name, CB example, and set my post-processing time, set my recording. This is all optional stuff that you decide to use. Yes, it doesn't matter whether you set these or not. And I'm going to add all my users, save that. And then after I have created my queue, which I'll reference in a little bit, I'm going to go to Scripts. So you can add this process into any existing script where you've got callers going into a queue and then holding. But I'm going to create a brand new script, show you how you make the callback section, and then show you how you can add it into different parts of your queue treatments. Unfortunately, you cannot make a callback script and then refer to it from other scripts. You have to recreate the callback script in each script where you want to use it. The time that I'm recording this is July of 2019. It is possible that things change, so this is information based on July of 2019. All right, let me make a quick example script. I'm going to do add new script. So you can do this in existing script, but if you're following along, I recommend you just make a new one so you can see how this is done. Callback example. I'm not going to assign a channel because I'm just making just an example here. Save that. All right, so in most of your typical scripts, you've usually got some, from your main IVR, you usually have something like a check schedule. You've also usually got a some kind of a say command or a play command. Let's see, I'm just going to put default schedule. So this is not really part of the callback process. This is more me just setting up the stage of what a typical script might look like. So you've got your schedule, and if you're open, usually you've got some kind of a say or a play, like, thank you for calling. I'm just going to make a real quick one here quick. So thank you for calling. And so over here for the text, I'm going to do a thank you for calling, comma, please hold for an agent. Okay, and so that. All right, so I want to add I've got my preamble of a little message there, and I wanted to add a forward to queue. So I'm going to go down here, forward to queue. And let's see, forward to queue. I've got a sample queue already selected, no rules. All right, so all this was just to kind of set up what a typical script would look like, right? And then what you do is while the caller is in the queue, so right here in this in the queue section, you know how you can do add, you can do messages, like you can every 30 seconds you can say, everyone's busy, thank you for holding, please wait for the next agent. Well, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to offer the ability to select a callback option. So we're going to come back to that in just a minute. Now, the way I like to do this is to create a callback module and put it in the root of the script. What I mean by root is you see how you've got these lines that kind of indicate the different levels of the nesting. So I like to take and put mine right in the main IVR. I do an add, I do a label. So if you're not familiar with labels, labels are, well, they are what they say they are, labels, but they're also go-to destinations. And because this one is special, I kind of like to do it with a little bit of special characters next to it. I like to do it in all caps. The reason is it makes it easy for me to spot in my script, because if you've done enough scripting and you've gotten fairly complex, this begins to become quite crowded in here, and so it makes it easy to see something like that. So I just made this label, and I'm going to move it down to the bottom. So I click on it and choose move down. So now it's down here at the very bottom. All right, it's out of the way. It's not part of any other nest. And then I'm going to add 3 submodules. I'm going to add a module called callback caller ID, callback get new number, and callback queued. So again, I'm making labels. So let's go and do a another label. And I like to start mine with CB. You don't have to, but I like to because it makes it easy for me to see them later. Because when you add a bunch of labels in a script, they all start showing up in drop-down boxes, and it's kind of easy if you can kind of recognize real quickly, like, oh yeah, that's one of my callback submodules. This one will be confirm caller ID. I'm going to do another one. Let's see, I'm going to go down one here, and I'm going to do another add. I'm going to choose another label. This one's going to be get new number. And the last one is going to be callback queued. Label. All right. So what's going to happen is under each one of these labels, I'm going to write the logic of what each one of these little submodules does. What I will eventually do is when this is all done is that in my queue treatment, I will make a place to absorb a get digit from them. And then once they choose, say for instance, I say, you know, your call is important to us. If you'd like to continue holding, you may do so. Or if you prefer to have us call you back, you may press 1. And if they press 1, I'm going to have it do a go to this label callback module, and then we'll run through all this logic right here. All right, so let's build these out. So the first one we want to build out is the confirm caller ID. So what we're doing is we're saying we see your caller ID is. So under this label confirm caller ID, I'm going to add a say. Now I'm using say commands because say allow me to do text to speech, which is great for this kind of thing. However, you can certainly use play commands, which read audio. You'll just have to make the audio prompts for all the various situations. So the best thing to do is design it with the say. Once you've got it perfected, then you can go back and make the play audio files and then replace your say commands with play commands and play the audio files. All right, so object tag, let's see, this is going to be we see your CID. All right, so down here in the text to play, under the text to play, so this is a text to speech command right here. Let's see, we see your caller ID. Notice I'm playing a little bit of phonetics game there because if I type ID, it'll say id. We see your caller ID is, and just stop right there. And then another add and another, I'm sorry, click on the say we just made, do another add and another say, except this time we're not going to type the free text. This is read CID variable. So if you see down here the value to play, this drop down, you can choose phone number. Because we should know their caller ID, we're going to be able to have that as a variable, and we're going to read that back to them. All right, so we see your caller ID is, and then we read that variable back to them. Then what we're going to do is we're going to ask them if they want us to call them back at that number or enter a different number. So I'm going to do another say. All right, use CID as CB. All right. These object tags, they can be whatever you want them to be. They just whatever works for you. They're just they don't even have to be unique within the script, which I find kind of weird. Okay, so if you would like us to call you back at this number, press 1, period, or to enter a new number, press 2. All right. Now, Down here in the playback options, there's this uninterruptible and interruptible choice. I'm going to go ahead and let this be interruptible. What that means is I'm going to let them push the DTMF key before I've finished talking. But there's going to be a section later where I'm going to do the opposite, and I'll explain why in a minute. All right. So basically, if they're going to hear their caller ID, I'm going to say, do you want us to use that? Yes or no. They're going to press 1 or 2 to let me know. So under that that last one we just made about, press 1 or 2, we're going to add what's known as a get digit. So if you're not familiar with get digit, although if you've done any scripting, chances are you've used this already. Get digit is where we're absorbing the DTMF choice that the caller is making on their phone keypad. So get caller choice. Again, object tag can be whatever you want it to be. And the timeout is just how long you want to wait to let them push a key. And then see how once you add the get digit, it's got all these numbers next to them. So that's all the possible choices that they could choose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, look, if 1 is what they want, meaning use the caller ID, then I'm going to go ahead and send that directly to, so I'm going to put in a go to, so go to, and then the label, callback queued. And then on the drop down for destination, all these labels I make now become destinations. So I'm going to send this to callback queued. Now we haven't built that yet, but I can go ahead and map that right now. And then if they say 2, which is they want to enter a new number, I'm going to add another go to. So go to, and then I'm going to, let's see, this will be enter new number, and choose the destination of get new number. All right. So just to kind of recap what I've done here is, as I've said, we see your caller ID, we read back the variable, we're asking them, do you want us to use that as your callback? Yes or no. If they say yes, they press 1. That's going to send it to callback queued, which we'll build in a minute. If they say no, that's going to send it to get new number, and then we're going to build that right now. And then there's also some finishing touches. We can come back and put in things like if they choose the wrong digit, if they don't do anything, we can kind of recycle them through here. You really, when you build this, you have to think of all the possible things they could do and do wrong, because you don't want them to end up down a dead-end path where they can't get out or they have no way of returning to another level. All right, so under the get new number, I'm going to do a add and a say. And so this say is going to be asking them for the new number. Get new number. Well, let's call it ask for new number. Ask for new number. All right, and the free text is going to be please, and you can say this any way you want, this is just my suggestion, please enter the number, actually let's do it this way, please enter the 10-digit number where you wish to be called, followed by the pound sign. All right. The reason I paused and changed it to 10-digit phone number is just in case they might think that, oh, I can just put in my 7-digit phone number. I don't think there's too many places in North America where you can get away with dialing just 7 digits, but just in case they make that assumption, let's be sure we let them know we need 10 digits and the pound sign. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave this as uninterruptible. And that's because, like again, July 2019, there have been problems where people begin to type the phone number before the message is over. Even with this set to interruptible, it's still been omitting some of the first few digits. In fact, to make this even more comprehensive, what you can do is you can say, after this message, period, please enter. So you're actually telling them, after this message, please enter the 10-digit phone number where you wish to be called. Leave this as uninterruptible. That has been the official stance of the support people about this problem, is to leave this uninterruptible. All right, so I've got that. Now I need to get what they're sending me, right? So remember I said I said we're asking them for the phone number. Now under that ask for the phone number, I'm going to add a get value. So I'm going to enter the get value. Where is get value? Right here. All right, get value. Let's call it get caller input, or whatever you want to call it. It's fine. There, you could use these messages if you want. I don't. I do my own says. That's just my preference. But you could experiment with using the invite and the invalid and the empty if you want to do that. And then I'm going to put on the drop down here, data collect. This is real important. Choose customer phone number. So they're going to be typing in digits. We need to tell the system the digits you're about to collect are going to become the variable customer phone number. Before, this used to be the caller ID, but once they replace it, the variable now will be the phone number that they give us. All right, so I'm going to say OK. And then I need to repeat back to them what they gave me. So I've asked for it, I've collected it. Then down here on get value, I'm going to do another add and another say, because I want to read back the phone number to them and confirm that is correct. Confirm entered number. The number we received is, that's all you need to say. Because we're also going to do another say, and then we're going to do variable.
All right, so now we need to plug in that say for the variable. So we've already told them that your number is, and then I'm going to put another add and a say. And I apologize if you notice the microphone acoustics have changed. I had to stop for a minute and I came back and I'm using a different microphone. Anyway, so this is going to be play CB variable. And so instead of free text, now we want to choose callback phone number. Now you might notice here there's callback phone number and there's caller phone number. I'm not sure why two are offered here when in the get value only one is offered. So as far as I know, they're interchangeable. And we're going to leave that as uninterruptible. All right, and then we're going to ask them now to confirm if what we got is correct. So after that say variable, we're going to do another add and another say, and then we're going to do a get digit. So say, is this correct? If this is correct, press 1, or to re-enter, press 2. And I'm going to make that interruptible because they can always kind of start to guess what they want to press before you finish your sentence. And then now I got to add a get digit. So on that, I want to do an add and a get digit. See, I told you this would be tedious. So once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. It's just tedious. And you just have to think of all the different paths that they might go down. Let's see, I need a get digit. Get digit. All right. This is caller choice. Call that whatever you want. And so now what's kind of cool about this is I don't have to rewrite this because if it's correct, I can go to callback queued. So add on option 1, I'm going to add callback queued. So go to callback queued. And callback queued. And then 2, I'm just going to loop them right back to the whole process again. All right, so I don't have to rewrite this. I can just simply say, okay, well, look, you know, if you want to re-enter the number, I'm going to go to enter new number. So I'm just cycling them right back to the get new number process. Okay, so you get what I did there. So I asked them to put in the new number. They entered the number. If for some reason after I played it back to them, it's not what they want, and they choose option 2, I'm just cycling them right back to the beginning again to the get new number thing. All right, so now lastly, what we need to do is build out the callback queued process. So this is when they've finally said, yes, this is the number. Either they've said, yes, the caller ID is what I want, or the entered number is what they want, and they've confirmed it. So what I'm going to do here is an add. And this is called, is it callback? Where is it? the name of the command is callback. Let's see, here it is, callback right there under say callback. All right. So there's a few options in here. So you need to choose the callback queue that you want, and we only have one, but you could have more than one. And then also, what caller ID are we going to be showing when we send the caller? When we make the outbound call. All right, and then also what dial plan, and this is a gotcha here because it always defaults to Australia, which isn't going to do most of you North American people any good. So I choose the North American with the VCC. And wait, did I get the right one? Yes, I did. Okay. And then also, how many times do you want it to try? My preference is just one try. The reason why is because you can get some false positives on the retries. So here's an example. If you say set this for 2 retries and you tell your agents that, when they do a callback, if it rings and there's no answer and they hang up, that don't worry, it'll just requeue again. The problem with that is that sometimes when all the agent is hearing is ring back in their ear, meaning they hear the far party's phone ringing, is that actually could be considered an answer. And I won't go into all the details, but basically the way that sometimes SIP lines answer is they may answer with a 200 OK and make the system think that the phone has been answered when the agent's just hearing ringing. The other problem you get into is that sometimes you hit voicemail and then the agent hangs up thinking like, well, it'll try again. Well, it won't, because it considers that to be an answered call. So if you want to have multiple retries, that's fine. You can have 2, 3, 4 if you want, but just be aware that you can get some situations where it tries the caller first and the agent doesn't think that the call has been completed, but the system thinks it has. All right, if you do retries, then you can have, set the duration in between delays. So I recommend something like maybe 5 minutes. So if you don't get in the first time, try again after 5 minutes. And then what is the total time of life of the call? Now, this can really get interesting with things like when the contact center closes, and does the callback stay alive even after they close and things like that. I won't go into that right now, but this is just to say this is how long the callback will stay in the queue if it's not been either initiated or answered. So I would say a good, average would be about 60 minutes. Because if the call hasn't come back up to the surface of the queue within 60 minutes, then it means you guys have got some really heavy volume going on, and your caller has since probably tried to recall by then. So it's kind of a moot point. But whatever you want that to be is fine. All right, so got that, and then the last thing I want to do is just add after the callback has been queued, I just want to add a phrase just to let them know that thank you, we'll call you back at the number you confirmed. So one more, thank you, and thank you. We will attempt to reach you on the number you confirmed. All right, that way we're kind of covering our bases for whether they use the caller ID or they entered a new number. All right, and then the last thing you want to do is add a by. So after that say, add a hang up or a by. Let's see, I think it's called a hang up. Where is it? Hang up. There we go. Hang up. Or in other words, disconnect. That prevents, for some reason, the call from continuing on to some other option in your tree. So we want to terminate it right there. All right, now there are a few finishing touches you can put on this. One of the things you have to consider, for instance, is if they don't do anything. So do you remember at the beginning I said, we see your caller ID is, and we read the caller ID back to them, and then we ask them, do you want this to be the number we call back, yes or no? And so, 1 is yes and 2 is no. However, what if they push a 3, a 5, a 7? What if they don't push anything at all? Well, these little spots right here, unassigned digits and empty, these are what you can use as the next routing decision. So for instance, if they don't put in anything, maybe they're freaking out You could say, for instance, if they don't do anything, maybe you could send them back to the queue. Okay, they won't lose their place in the queue because it keeps track of how long they were in the queue. It was the timestamp is still there. The other thing you could do is send them right back to the top again. So if I wanted to, I could do for empty, I could do an add, and then I could say go to. So I could go to back to top. So just go right back to the callback module and start over again. Conversely, if I wanted to send them back to the queue, I would need to add a label up there. So that could be a target. So for instance, up here where I had the queue, I would probably just put like a label, say maybe right here. Do an add and a label. So let me make a label. Begin queue. Okay. And then this way it's a target. So say, for instance, if they didn't put anything in, they're not answering my question because maybe they're freaking out and then they're thinking like, how do I get back? And you could even offer that as an option too. You could even, in the say, you could even say, press 1 to use this as your callback number, press 2 to enter a new number, or press 3 to return to the queue. If they just, because that happens with callers, they push buttons and they're not sure they want to do that. But anyway, so I could edit this and I could say, well, instead of going back to the top of the call module, I could say, come here, edit, go back to begin queue, right there. All right. Same thing with unassigned digit. So whatever logic you program an unassigned digit just means if they push any button that wasn't already assigned to something, what behavior do you want? Okay, so that applies here. That would also apply down here in the get for the new phone number. There is a possibility, and it's rare, but there is a possibility that after they've gone through this whole process, the system doesn't like their phone number, in which case you could set up an invalid phone number behavior, some kind of a say command that says, the number we received is not compatible with our system, and then so you don't infuriate them, don't disconnect the call, just offer to send them back to the queue. All right. Okay, let's talk about how you would use this. So I showed you how I built this whole thing in the root of the IVR tree. So because I did that, this label, callback module, can essentially be addressable from anywhere else in your script. So anywhere in this script that you want to have this as an option, you just simply add a go to. So for instance, in my in-queue treatments, I can say, okay, let's see, in-queue, I want to add a loop. Let's maybe add some music. And we'll do one loop of music. Let's see, I need to do this, time interval. Let's see, edit the time interval. We'll say just do about 30 seconds. All right, and then I'm going to add another loop. Add another loop. And then this one's going to be comfort message. You can call this whatever you want. All right, and then we'll play the comfort message like maybe 3 times or something like that. If you want to just play it indefinitely, just put in 999. That way it'll just, I think with 30-second intervals, that'll last like all, half the day or something like that. All right, and then so on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a say command, announcing, or I could use a play, and say give play comfort give CB option. All right, so what I'm going to say here is, thank you for continuing to hold. If you would like to leave a callback number, press 1, comma, otherwise you may continue to hold. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, if you want, you can press 1 to have us call you back, or you can continue to hold. So if they don't do anything, they're just going to continue to hold. All right, so, and I'm going to make that interruptible because, like I said, they're usually going to guess what they can do before the sentence is over. And then it's another get digit. So I'm going to do add get digit. And get caller choice. All right, so if they choose 1, I'm just going to send them to the callback module. So I need to go to and send to CB module and choose the CB module, callback module. Okay, so you can add this mechanism anywhere you want in your script. And because your callback module is in the root, it's nice here on the bottom, tucked out of the way. You can reference it from anywhere else in your script. So I could have, say, for instance, a queue going on here with comfort messages offering the callback module. Additionally, I say, for instance, might have an overload condition, which then maybe goes to another queue. But again, I can offer the comfort message with the callback option. See, so that's my point, is that once you've created this as kind of a like a little nested module all by itself down here in the bottom, is that you can keep referencing it from different positions within the queue. I'm sorry, within the script. All right, so that should help get you started, and I think you got the basic idea from what I've shown you. It is a little tedious. I appreciate you sticking it out with me, and thanks for watching.